This is X20, Gamer X20, and welcome to Gaming Memories. Today on Gaming Memories, we're going to be tackling one of my personal favorite games during 2001. That game is called SpyHunter. This brings back great memories, but if you don't know about the SpyHunter series, let me give you a brief backstory.
SpyHunter was a 1983 arcade game, published and developed by Midway or Bally Midway during the time. It was a vehicular combat game and took inspiration from the James Bond films. But originally, it was going to be licensed, but became its own later. It got a cult following afterwards, and it was ported to home consoles. After the first game, Midway then released the second one, SpyHunter 2, released on 1987. It wasn't that well received, and George Gomez, who designed the original, said it was horrible and obviously done by someone that didn't understand the first game. Unlike the first game, it did not get any home ports due to the negative response. Later, in 1991, an exclusive sequel on the NES made by Midway and Sunsoft called Super SpyHunter released in 1991. The gameplay is the same thing as the first one, except it had a story, boss battles, and a kick-ass soundtrack. I won't talk about it fully in a short sentence. It's a fun game and fondly remembered by fans. After that, the series was kinda forgotten, or it was on a hiatus, skipping the 4th and 5th generation home consoles. Until in 2001, 14 years after SpyHunter 2 was released, and 10 years after Super SpyHunter was released. Published by Midway and developed by Paradigm Entertainment. It was an exclusive back in September 24, 2001 for the PlayStation 2, until a couple of months later for the GameCube, Xbox, Game Boy Advance in 2002, and a year later for Microsoft Windows, OS X, and Zodiac in 2003. When the game came out, the PS2 version had sold 900,000 copies and earned $29 million. And Next Generation magazine ranked it as the 64th highest selling game and reached 1.4 million units in the United States by July 2006. The PS2 version had favorable reviews while the rest are mixed, saying they're inferior to the PS2 version. But question, is this the best game out of all of the SpyHunter games? Or is it inferior to the series?
Well, let's lock and load and let's find out.
The game starts with an opening with the arranged version from the original composer, Peter Gunn. And let me tell you, it kicks ass!
Caution. Environment hostile.
Every single game should have this music. It's that awesome. Anyways, after the awesome opening, we go on to select our profile. And we go on to the mission selection. There are a total of 14 missions, but you can only access the first mission. The rest, you need a lot of objectives to access the rest. But we'll talk about it later. The first mission is the tutorial level in Texas. You have to complete 7 objective missions to beat, like shoot all the targets, activate SATCOMs, do a turbo jump, etc. The controls are rough at first, but you'll get used to it once you master the tight controls. There are 2 different objectives, primary and secondary. Primary is the one to beat the level, otherwise you'll fail and have to restart the level again. And secondary if you want extra objectives in order to access the other levels. After level 1 is done with an outro level cutscene, trust me, all of the levels have this. We go to another cutscene, but this time we have a story of who we're fighting with. An evil corporation called Nostra. People may think they sell food products, biochemicals, and electronic goods. But what they don't know is they misappropriating funds to incites terrorism and build weapons of mass destruction. According to the Wiki fandom page, their plans is to shut down all of the electricity around the world by creating the 4 horsemen, aka satellites, and it's up to the IES, aka International Espionage Services, to stop Nostra once and for all. Now that we got the story out of the way, we focus on the presentation. Even though there are 14 missions, but really 2 missions are identical, but with different routes and the weather changing. So really, there's actually 8 locations, which are Texas, Frankfurt, Venice, Florida, French Riviera, Panama, Dover, and Petra, each one having 2 missions in each levels, except for Dover and Petra, which only have 1. When you start a level, at the loading screen, they show you IES intelligence and tips of how to find the location and strategy, which, give them credit, would probably make players confused where to find. Also, each of the levels have a secret path to find, like SATCOMs or others, which are secondary objectives. The next thing is weapons and power-ups. Okay, I'm not going to talk about all of the weapons, but I am going to mention a few. The weapon items are great, like the limited amount of bullets. You start low at first, but once you start upgrading your vehicle, your bullets is much huger and strength to destroy things in a snap. Oil slick, which could make the enemies lose their balance if you come across a shorter path. Railgun, which obliterates all targets but not the enemies, sadly. And guided missiles, which I don't have to tell you because it's like this version of a red shell from the Mario Kart series, or homing missiles from the Twisted Metal series. Next, we have the enemies, which some are easy and some are hard, but they're really well balanced enough. And last but not least, the music. I already mentioned the opening theme, but here are some more awesome music. Unfortunately, there's not enough music, so it gets repetitive a lot, most of the time, but I still enjoy the soundtrack, even though it's limited. Finally, we go on to the gameplay. Like I said in the beginning, the controls are tight, the drifting is okay, and the weapons are great. But there's one con, and that's the shoulder buttons. The buttons to select is L1 for selecting defense weapon, and L2 to fire the defense weapon, and from the other, R1 for selecting offensive weapon, and R2 to fire the offensive weapon. So, what's the problem? Well, the shoulder buttons are kinda complicated. Like saying you want to fire an offensive weapon, but you press the wrong shoulder button, and you're starting to forget how the shoulder buttons work. Like, this happens every time I start a new stage, because they're pretty forgetful. Unless if you know this game a lot than I do, but that's just a nitpick of mine. Now, click this annotation here so I won't spoil the final parts. 5 seconds. Okay, let's talk about the courses and the final mission. I'm going to dive deep to all the 14 levels and how to beat the primary missions, and going to talk about a few about the secondary objectives. So, here we go. Level 1. Shoot all targets in the tutorial. That's it. But what do you expect? This is the first level. Level 2. Destroy the helicopter in time before it escapes. Also, watch out for civilian casualties, so you won't fail the secondary mission. Level 3. Destroy all 5 satellite trucks and make sure you won't miss one. Also, place trackers on cargo ships for secondary mission. Level 4. Destroy all 7 control towers, and for secondary mission, place trackers on 3 transport trucks. Level 5. Destroy the stolen GG-166 interceptor that Nostra stole. Secondary mission, destroy 5 comm towers. Level 6. Escort IES cargo truck to safety while you destroy the enemies to clear the path. Secondary mission, destroy 3 prototype vehicles. Level 7. You get a new black interceptor car with an upgrade with new power-ups and new weapons. So for this, shoot all the targets again, just like the first level. Also, this time you need to get a lot of secondary objectives, like disable the EMP logo with your EMP, trying to avoid invisible lasers with your new X-ray power-up, and the last but not least, pressing the X button twice to boost to the ramp and land on 75mm. Level 8. Escort IES agents to safety while destroying enemies. It's just like level 6, but you're on water. Secondary objective, destroy power model in base and EMP the power bombs. Level 9, escape Nostra warehouse, but however, this is the only level when you switch cars. Like from the beginning, you're driving a civilian car with no weapons and you're on a time limit. This is got to be one of the most hardest level I have ever played. Like, you have no time to slow down. You have to beat it on a perfect run. Otherwise, your mission is failed. But it's all trial and error. Once you pass it, go to the weapons van and change back to your interceptor. Secondary mission, destroy trucks, towers, and disable bombs with EMP. Level 10, destroy 3 mobile missiles before they be launched. Secondary mission, destroy Harriers and communication towers. Level 11, you have to EMP the bomb, but in order to do that, you have to cross path through Monaco while a race is being attended. And there's commentaries.
There's something on the track! What is it? There's racing other cars! What is it? He's coming around the corner! There he is! In all my years of racing, I've never seen anything like I'm seeing now!
Secondary objectives is avoid, penetrate secret base, and mostly destroy stuffs, etc. Level 12, disable the power generators. Secondary mission, destroy all the transmitter from Nostra Fortress, but in order to do that, there is an IES helicopter holding an invisible ring. Go through it and voila, but hurry because it doesn't last long. Level 13, find the location and disable hidden rockets before it launches. Secondary mission, just destroy scout subs and disable nuclear subs. But be careful, this mission is tough, like a bag of concrete steel nails. Once we almost finished all of Nostra's plans, we go on to the final mission. The last primary objective is to disable the 4 horsemen with your EMP blaster, and they would finally met their match. Also, this is the only music track in the level that is actually an instrumental licensed music. Which one to be exact? The name of the band is Saliva. Now, if you don't know who they are, let me give you a short summary. Saliva is a new metal band which they were popular back in the early to mid 2000s, right next to Korn, Limp Bizkit, and Linkin Park. How did they agree to put one of their music? Well, Midway made an agreement to make a SpyHunter theme song by Saliva, because Saliva was still new at the time, and they wanted to get famous. So they did exactly that, and boom, they made it big time. Unfortunately, I can't play you the song because I'll get copyrighted and get a strike. So I'll play you the 5-second instrumental version of it. Okay, back to topic. This level is hard, but what do you expect? This is the last mission, and you have to do everything what you learned so far. And you feel pumped up and ready thanks to the Saliva soundtrack. Once you disable all the 4 horsemen, you escaped from the tunnel and the last cutscene shows. Now, for the conclusion.
So, what is my opinion about this game? Well, it's good, but however, it really didn't age that well over the years. But I still enjoyed it, but it's nothing considered to be a masterpiece, it's just my personal opinion. I liked this game a lot as a kid, and I still like it today as a grown adult. I give SpyHunter a 4 out of 6. this isn't the last time I'm tackling this series. There's actually 2 more SpyHunter games out there. SpyHunter 2, which is the sequel to the first one, and SpyHunter Nowhere to Run, which I don't have it at the moment, but it was supposed to be a movie-based game, but it got delayed and cancelled and just became its own thing. If you haven't played this game, please pick this one up. It's really that good. Not the greatest game of all time, but good. Anyways, this is Gamer X20 and I got another mission to do. X20 signing out.